It's strange how quiet the world becomes after someone leaves. I never realized how much space your presence occupied. The sound of your messages popping up on my phone, your laugh on the other end of a call, the soft hum of your voice saying goodnight. When you left, it was as if someone had pressed mute on my entire life. I could still see everything moving, cars outside, people talking, the clock ticking, but it all happened behind a sheet of glass. Distant, untouchable. The night you told me you'd lost feelings, I remember every single detail. You said it so casually, as if you were returning a borrowed book, not breaking something sacred. I sat there cross-legged on my couch, watching your text bubble appear and disappear. I've been thinking. I just don't feel the same anymore. Just like that. No warning, no fight, no build-up. You pressed send and my world stopped breathing. I kept rereading your message, hoping I'd misunderstood. Maybe you meant you were just confused or tired. I waited for a second message, an explanation, a softening, but nothing came, just silence, a silence that grew louder with every minute that passed. That night, I didn't cry right away. I just sat in bed, phone still glowing in my hand, staring at the last words you'd written. My heart didn't even know how to react. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, realizing you can't do anything to stop it. The tears came hours later, heavy, choking sobs that didn't even sound like me. I remember curling up under my blanket, clutching your old hoodie against my chest, trying to find the faint scent of your cologne. Even that was fading. Everything was fading. For days afterward, I lived in denial. I kept imagining that you'd text me again, apologizing, saying it was a mistake. I fantasized about you showing up at my door looking guilty but relieved, telling me you couldn't stop thinking about me. I replayed our best moments in my head like an addict replaying a high, your hand brushing mine as we walked, the way your eyes softened when I made you laugh, the warmth in your voice when you said my name. And every time I'd whisper to myself, maybe he'll come back. But you didn't. You vanished completely. No messages, no calls, no checking in. Just gone. It's a special kind of pain, the one that comes without closure. It's not sharp like heartbreak from a fight. It's slow, dull, and endless. It eats at your chest, makes it hard to breathe, hard to think, hard to believe that the person who once swore they loved you could suddenly erase you like you were a temporary chapter. I kept scrolling through our old texts, through photos where we looked so happy that it physically hurt to look at them. I'd wake up and reach for my phone out of habit, expecting a good morning message that never came. I'd see something funny online and my first thought would be to send it to you, before remembering that I wasn't supposed to anymore. It's ridiculous how someone can be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. The first time I saw you, viewed my Instagram story after the breakup, my heart jumped. I thought maybe this is his way of checking on me, maybe he misses me too. But that small spark of hope turned bitter quickly. Because if you truly cared, you would have said something. You would have reached out, but you didn't. Watching silently from a distance was just another way of reminding me that you still had power over me, that you could slip into my life for a second, twist the knife a little deeper, and then disappear again. I tried to be strong. I told my friends I was fine. I even told myself I was better off. But the truth was I missed you so much that it physically hurt. The ache settled in my chest like a bruise that never faded. Every song, every smell, every quiet evening reminded me of you. I'd lie awake at night replaying our last conversation, wondering if I said something wrong, if I could have fixed it somehow, if loving you differently would have made you stay. But deep down, I know the truth. You didn't lose feelings overnight. You just stopped trying. And maybe that's what hurts the most, that while I was still fighting for us, still believing in what we had, you had already moved on to a version of your life that didn't include me. Now, when I walk around my apartment, everything reminds me of absence. The empty chair across from mine at breakfast, the untouched mug that used to be yours, the quiet hum of loneliness that fills the room where your laughter once lived. I keep telling myself it'll get easier, that the silence will stop feeling so suffocating. But right now, it's still there, constant, heavy, and deafening. The days after you left didn't feel real. It was like walking through the ruins of a home after the fire. Everything looked familiar, but nothing felt alive. I'd wake up and still expect your good morning text. I'd glance at my phone during lunch, half expecting to see your name lighting up the screen. But there was only silence, a cruel, echoing silence that felt louder than any words you could have said. You said you'd lost feelings, like they were something you accidentally dropped on the sidewalk. As if love was a switch you could just turn off without warning. But I kept asking myself how do feelings vanish overnight? How do you go from planning our future to vanishing from my life like a ghost? I replayed every little moment, searching for signs I might have missed. Maybe it was the night you seemed distracted during dinner, or when you stopped holding my hand in public, or maybe when you said I love you less often, and when you did, it sounded like a reflex, not a confession. Still, I didn't think it would end like this. No fight, no explanation, just a sentence. I don't feel the same anymore. I remember the exact tone of your voice, calm, almost apologetic, and the way you looked at the floor instead of at me when you said, I wanted to scream. I wanted to grab your face and force you to look at me, to see the pain you were causing. But I didn't. I just stood there, nodding like I understood, when inside I was falling apart. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, wondering how someone who once knew every inch of me could suddenly not care if I existed. My pillow smelled like your shampoo, a cruel reminder that you were real and that I had lost you. The worst part wasn't loneliness. It was emptiness. I wasn't just missing you. I was missing the version of myself I was when I was with you. The girl who laughed too loudly, who danced in the kitchen, who believed that love could fix anything. After you, she disappeared, and what was left was quiet, cold, hollow. I told myself I'd be fine. That time heals everything. But time didn't feel like medicine. It felt like a punishment. Each day stretched endlessly, and each night I whispered your name into the dark, knowing there'd be no reply. I kept waiting for you to text me. Just one message. Something simple like, hey, how are you? Something to prove that I still meant something. But you didn't. You moved on in silence, and I stayed behind in the wreckage, trying to find pieces of us that were still worth saving. Sometimes I dream about you coming back, knocking on my door, eyes full of regret, saying you made a mistake. And in those dreams, I forgave you. I ran into your arms like nothing happened, because dreams don't have consequences. But mornings always came too soon. And I'd wake up with my heart racing, my hands shaking, realizing I was still alone, and that you were probably waking up next to someone else. That thought killed me, the idea that you could be laughing, smiling, living your life while I was here barely surviving. And yet, even in the middle of all that pain, I couldn't bring myself to hate you, because hate meant I'd stopped caring, and I wasn't there yet. I still loved you, pathetically, desperately, completely, and maybe that was my biggest mistake. When you came back, it didn't feel real. It was late, one of those humid summer nights when the air feels heavy, almost alive. I still remember the sound of your knock. Soft, hesitant, like you were afraid I wouldn't answer. I did. Of course I did. You stood there on my doorstep, hands trembling, eyes searching mine like you were looking for forgiveness. And the moment I saw you, all the anger I'd been nursing for months just... You didn't even have to say a word. The sight of you was enough to bring everything back. Every memory, every feeling I swore I'd buried. You said I made a mistake, and I hated how those 4 words broke me. I should have slammed the door. I should have told you that love isn't a revolving door you can step in and out of whenever it's convenient. But instead, I let you in. And just like that, we started again. At first, it almost felt like before. You brought me flowers, held me like you used to, whispered that you missed me more than anything. And I wanted so badly to believe you. I wanted to believe you. I wanted to believe that people change, that maybe heartbreak could somehow fix what caused it in the first place. But love after betrayal isn't soft. It's sharp. It's sharp. It cuts in ways you can't see. Every time you touched me, part of me flinched. Every time you said you loved me, I wondered if you were lying. Again. I didn't say it out loud, but the questions lived in the silence between us, breathing, watching, waiting. We moved in together after a few months. Everyone said it was too soon, that I was making a mistake. But I thought maybe if I surrounded myself with you, if I could see you, feel you, wake up next to you, maybe I'd stop remembering what you did. I was wrong. The apartment felt haunted, not by ghosts, but by memories. I'd find your shirt on the floor and wonder if another woman had once seen you wear it. You'd get a text and my chest would tighten before I could stop it. You'd tell me you loved me, and I'd hear I'm sorry instead. We fought a lot. At first it was over small things. The dishes, the laundry, you forgetting to call when you were late. But beneath every argument was the same unspoken wound. I still don't trust you. You'd raise your voice. I'd cry. And somewhere between shouting and silence, we'd find ourselves in each other's arms again. Desperate, exhausted, clinging to something neither of us could name. It wasn't passion anymore. It was survival. We were 2 people drowning, holding on to each other because we were both too scared to face the water alone. One night, I found myself watching you while you slept. The streetlight outside painted your face in gold, and for a moment you looked like the man I used to love, soft, safe, familiar. I reached out to touch your cheek, but stopped halfway, because the truth hit me. I wasn't in love with you anymore. I was in love with the idea of you, the one I built in my head, the one who never hurt me. That realization broke me more than your betrayal ever did, because it meant that even though you were here, breathing beside me, loving me in your way, I was still alone. And loneliness, when shared, feels even colder. It happened quietly, not with a fight, not with tears, not even with words. Just silence, the kind of silence that fills a room when two people finally stop pretending that love is enough. For weeks, we'd been drifting, sharing a bed but not warmth, sharing meals but not laughter. Our conversations became mechanical. Did you pay the bill? What time are you coming home? Good night. No, I love you, not anymore. It's strange how love can fade without you noticing. One day you wake up next to the person you once thought you couldn't live without, and realize you've been living without them for a long time already. I remember the morning it all broke. You were sitting at the table scrolling through your phone, your coffee gone cold. I was standing by the window watching the world outside. People rushing to world outside, people rushing to work, kids running to school, and I felt so painfully detached from it all. Like life was happening out there, and I was stuck in a moment that had already ended. You looked up at me then, and our eyes met. For the first time in months, I didn't feel anger, or love, or even pain. Just emptiness. That's when I knew. I can't do this anymore, I said, my voice barely a whisper. You didn't say anything at first, just stared as if waiting for me to take it back, like all the other times I'd said I was done but wasn't. But this time was different. I didn't cry. I didn't beg. I just stood there calm because somewhere deep down I'd already let go long before the words left my mouth. You asked, so that's it. And I nodded. That night, you packed your things. There wasn't much. A few shirts, a toothbrush, your laptop. No dramatic goodbye, no promises of staying friends. Just two tired souls finally setting each other free. After you left, the apartment felt heavier, but also lighter. I sat on the couch, staring at the empty space where your shoes used to be, and I waited for the sadness to come. It didn't, not the kind I expected anyway. What I felt instead was grief, not for losing you, but for losing us. For the version of me who believed that love could fix anything. For the girl who thought that forgiveness meant forgetting. In the days that followed, I tried to rebuild my routine. Coffee in the morning, walks in the evening. Little by little, I found pieces of myself again. The ones I'd given away thinking love meant sacrifice. Sometimes I still think about you, when a certain song plays or when I pass the cafe where we used to meet after work. I wonder if you ever think about me too. Not the angry version of me, not the broken one, but the one who once looked at you like you were the whole world. But I've learned something I wish I'd known back then. Love isn't measured by how much pain you can endure for someone. It's about peace. And I haven't felt peace in a long, long time. Now, when I look back, I don't see you as the villain anymore. You were just human, flawed, scared, lost. And so was I. Maybe in another life we'll meet again, different people, different hearts. Maybe then we'll get it right. But not this time, not in this life, because now I understand. You can forgive someone, even love them, and still know they're not meant to stay. And as I sit here watching the sun rise through my window, the light spilling gently across the floor, I finally feel something I haven't felt in years. Peace. Not because you came back, but because I finally let you go.